basically. He still has 3 options. One of them is to do what we call surveillance. This means you watch it, and that involves doing scans every 3 months and blood work and chest x-rays for 2 years at least, and then less frequently later. The second option is to do 1 round of chemotherapy, only 1 cycle of chemotherapy. The third is to do the surgery and remove the lymph nodes. The reason why Dr. Karanikolas was favoring the surgery because of these teratoma. Because if you have teratoma elements in the testicle, there is a chance that they could be in the lymph nodes. And if they are in the lymph nodes, chemotherapy will not kill these cells, and with time they can grow. If they grow, patients may need surgery down the line. So that's the downside in not doing surgery now. And it depends where you are, which part of the country. On the East Coast, especially, people are influenced by Sloan. They tend to recommend surgery. If you go to the Midwest or to Indiana, where they have another major center for testicular cancer, they will feel that you can do without the surgery. So it's you're caught between 2 schools of thought.
Right.
And I'm ambivalent about it because I feel that there are more studies showing that maybe the outcome will be the same. The only risk by not doing surgery now, that with time they may need surgery to go back and remove lymph nodes if you don't do it now.
Okay. Okay.
But Dr. Karanikolas really is pushing for surgery, basically. That's what he told you?
No, he actually
He didn't say that?
no, he didn't.
Oh, I
He
thought
said he
he
wanted
said
us to
surgery.
speak to you, and
Yeah.
I think he was leaning more towards monitoring,
Oh, okay.
because he felt that the 50-50 chance that it didn't
It's-
spread,
It's
because
less
his
than
CAT
50,
scan.
it's less than 50 that would have spread.
I'm
It's
sorry,
not
say-
50-50 that it would have spread, it's less.
It's
If
less
it
than
is
50%.
50-50, then you should get chemotherapy. You will do 1 round of chemotherapy.
Okay,
If the risk is 50-50, then
Yes.
you should get chemotherapy.
okay,
Because if you do 1 round of chemo, and you can cure it almost at 90%. If you don't do 1 round of chemo and it comes back, then you will need 3 rounds of chemo.
which is, so the 1 round of chemo is,
Preventive.
right, and it's
If you
not,
wait, then you need 3 rounds of chemo.
which is very
But
intense.
it becomes more intense. So if the risk was 50-50, most people would give that 1 round of chemo. I
Okay.
think it's more like 20% chance, 20 to 30, that it may come back. Now, if it does come back, then you will need more chemo.
Okay, so,
That's the trade-off of not doing chemo now.
okay, so,
So we really have the 2 or 3 options still.
okay, so we have 2 or 3 options. So first question for you is, if we opted for surgery, let's say, is, is it silly to take the like, okay, so let's say we opted for monitoring. We monitor him.
I think surgery is really not, shouldn't, according,
Okay,
as far
I'm
as I
listening to
think,
you.
should not be high on the list.
Okay,
I think it should be either chemo or observation,
Okay, so-
monitoring.
if we monitor him and we see it does come back, now it's going to come back in a certain
It
pattern?
can come back in the lymph nodes, in the lungs, or other organs. Or it may come back only with the blood test going out the tumor markers. But if that happens, you have to treat it as if it's already spread.
Okay, and in that case, we would do 3 rounds of
3 rounds
chemo,
of chemo.
and would, at that time, would the surgery be an
Uh,
option?
Probably not, probably not. The only option for surgery, if it grows
Lisa
into,
Capo Bianco.
I'm sorry,
if it grows in the lymph nodes and after chemo, the lymph node doesn't shrink completely, then you need surgery. So it's not an absolute must that surgery will be done. If he gets chemotherapy and all the lymph nodes, let's say it comes back in the lymph nodes, because that's why you do CAT scans. Let's say the worst case, 6 months from now, the lymph nodes are bigger.
right,
Then we have to go to chemo. If the lymph nodes disappear, that's it. If they don't shrink to less than 1 centimeter, then they may go and do surgery then. So surgery is always a possibility, but not an absolute must.
Okay, and
if you
does,
do chemo.
okay, and if it did spread and went into the lymph nodes and you took the chemo and then still had to do surgery, is,
You may not
Is
do
he-
it right away, it depends on what the scans show, yeah.
okay, what is,
But his scans show clear.
Now
That's
it's clear, so if we decide not to go to surgery, it's not an option now anyway, because we're doing chemo. So now the options, as far as I'm concerned, is monitoring or one round of chemo.
and surgery, if, the option for surgery now, I was under the impression that surgery would actually like cure it at this point.
And avoid chemo,
And avoid chemo
Yeah.
totally,
yeah,
but,
because you're
again, you're
removing
still-
all the lymph.
But the
nodes where it
surgery is
can
more
be.
but
It is more invasive, definitely. If you had to choose between one round of chemo and surgery, I think one round. We used to do more than one round of chemo. Now we found that one is as good as two. So the risks of one chemo is definitely less than.
will he lose his hair?
It can, but by the time it starts, it comes back quickly because it's only one round. So you will not lose.
One
your
round
hair.
is how many treatments?
It's 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
But if there is some hair loss, it's probably won't be complete and it will come back after that.
okay, and what if it, alright, so you say it's about more along the lines of like a 20 or 30% chance that it might have spread.
Without anything now, if you
Okay.
leave it, yeah.
If you leave it, and if you do the chemo preventatively,
Then it's more than 90% that it's cured, more than 90%. So it's the question is, do you do less chemo now and avoid more chemo later, or take your chances?
But speaking to, what's his name?
Dr. Nicholas?
He sounded more towards monitoring. Why? Did
Yeah.
you speak to him?
No, I did not. In fact, I read his note. I thought that he recommended surgery. I don't know, maybe.
No.
Maybe I didn't. What he says to you is not always what he writes in the note.
Maybe it was
But
just the initial
Maybe.
surgery.
But anyway, so yeah, monitoring is still preferred because if you do monitoring, means 80-70% of patients will never need anything else.
Right.
So if you're willing to take that chance, it's good. But if it was 50-50, then I don't think it's a good idea not to do anything.
Okay.
I don't think it's 50 really.
So, in your opinion, you think for someone in his situation, or giving all the markers and everything, that
I think
monitoring is still a
monitoring is,
good
the
option?
only thing with monitoring is more intensive because you didn't do anything. This means you will need a CAT scan every 3 months in the beginning. While we may do it every 6 if we had done something.
What about the blood work? That also?
And the blood work, yeah. I mean,
So
there
now,
is more-
how long does it take to say it's good?
Usually 2 years, you're good after 2, but you need 5.
5 years.
5 years to know for sure that it's not coming back. Because these tend to grow fast, so if they do come back, they will come back usually within the
But isn't it a good sign that the markers went really down?
Yeah, if they didn't go down, they will definitely need chemotherapy.
Right.
So that's a good start. They were not very high, that's good. Because the higher the markers, the worse it is.
Okay,
They
were
were
the
only-
markers originally very high, or they just?
No,
slightly
they were not
elevated?
that high.
Okay,
So already the mark, do we have the HCG? Yeah, it was, no, that's the after, what about before?
14, I thought you said.
The alpha feto, there are 2 types. The one was 14, 155, that's not very high. It could be in the thousands, so it's not that high, only slightly high, and they went down to normal. The issue is if you have microscopic disease, the markers may be normal anyway.
right.
If you have few cells floating around. That's the whole idea in doing either surgery or chemo, is if there are cells that are still there. Only time will tell.
Okay,
But I think it's reasonable, just as long as he's reliable and he will come for the
no,
follow-up.
he's reliable,
Because we have seen people come back a year later with a big tumor.
right. Okay.
This is reliable. See this?
Yeah, well, that's good, so he will.
I'm old school.
I'm trying to think of what